from him. Jesus came from God. It doesn't make sense to the normal mind. He came from the Father. The Father took flesh. He didn't create there, flesh there, no. He became flesh. So he made himself available, visible. So Jesus is the final and complete revelation of God. The only God you will ever see in all eternity. Now you're talking about doing what? Seeing. Because no one has ever seen God. Why? Because God is invisible. Invisible simply means you cannot see him. Neither angels have ever seen him, but they see light. But seeing God, this is the way akona mapua mrefu, no one has ever. But you can hear him. You can hear him speak. Because he is light. When John says God is light, he's simply telling you nobody has ever seen him. And indeed God is light. God is light. And now, and you cannot look that light into the eye like this. It is so bright, so bright. If you look it like this, you become blind. That's why whenever angels come into the earth, you read in the Bible, they come glowing with the light. That light is not their own. It is because they are before that great light. That's why when Moses went to the mountain, 40 days, and then he came back his face shining. Because you cannot stand before that light for a long, when you leave that, you carry him. At least when you're moving, even your hands are light, everything is light until that light disappears. And now a day will come when we will be before him forever and ever. So we will be glowing forever and ever. That glory. Can you say glory? So that invisible God now chose to make himself visible. So the only man who has ever seen God is Jesus. The only man who has ever seen God is Jesus. And now he has come to reveal the invisible God to us. So the only God we will ever see is that man, Jesus. Are you listening? The only God. Even the only God that the angels have seen. Angels saw him when he manifested. That's when they saw him. Even Moses had to come back on earth. For that the prayer which Moses prayed in Exodus 33, Lord, show me your face. Now he has to come, God has to bring him 1,500 years later. Uyu Mungu. I mean, sisi, me and you 3 days, I promise you something, 3 days, the promise I have forgotten. But God promises you. Now 1,500 years later, God sends Moses on earth. Now go and see my face. And then Moses appears on the Mount of Transfiguration when Jesus has been glorified. You remember that? When Jesus took John, Peter, and James, and then he changed. He became so white. Everything about him became white. He was showing them how he was before and how he will be in the future. Now God, the light, came with his full intensity on that mountain. And it was at night. And Jesus' body turned. His shoes turned white. Everything about him white. Even anything that looks black, he turned white. Everything, even his clothes, until Peter says, No Dobby, no dry cleaner can clean a white cloth to be white as that one. There has never been seen white clothes like those ones. Because now God, the light, came in full capacity. Full. And that is when Moses and Elijah appear. And they say, this one is the express image of. And we thought Moses died and is in heaven. No, nobody is in glory. The only man in glory is Christ. The rest are waiting for that glory because they don't have the capacity to see God as he is. Are you listening? It sounds difficult to understand, to the natural mind. So that's why I'm emphasizing for you to know why God manifested himself in the flesh. This man Jesus is the only God, true God, and is true God. It's not false. He is the only true God. He is the only one. Whatever Jesus tells you, believe me, that is God saying to you, because God is in him. God is in Christ. Are you listening? So why did he come? For those who are not there, just to recap.